This is Kate Swoboda, creator of YourCourageousLife.com, director of the Courageous Living Coach certification at TeamCLCC.com, and author of the book, The Courage Habit, which is available at booksellers and at Amazon. The Your Courageous Life podcast is all about going after what you want and creating and living a more courageous, emotionally resilient life. Might drop a couple of F-bombs, so maybe don't listen with your kids in the backseat of the car. And here we go with today's episode. Oh yeah, today we are talking about why we don't do what we say we should. Important topic to talk about because basically everyone has done this before, right? We say we're going to do something, we say I should do this, and then we don't do what we say we should. So maybe you think of taking up a daily meditation practice, or eating more vegetables, or getting exercise, or drinking more water, being kinder to yourself or someone else. And by the way, whenever I'm doing hypotheticals in these podcast episodes, you notice how I tend to circle around some of the same stuff, like doing a meditation practice, eating more vegetables, stuff like that. It's because it's so common and really so foundational. But nonetheless, meditation, vegetables, exercise, water, be kind to yourself. You decide, I'm going to do this. And you're aware that any of these things could help you to live a better life. And you think it's time for a change. You're tired of your suffering, right? If your body hurts or your health is impacted or your stress is really high, it gets old. But then you don't do it. Or you do it once or perhaps for a week or two, and it drops off from there. And I think that there's a reason why we don't do what we say we should. Actually, I think there are really two. They're very related. One is that our old habits are still dictating too much influence over us. So you probably already know I wrote a book about habits. It's called The Courage Habit. And it's not called The Courage Habit because the idea is that, just, make it a habit. Why not? It's actually into the science of how do we create habit loops in our brains that are courageous habit loops. So one reason why we don't do what we say we should is that our old habits are dictating way too much influence over us. So when it's been your habit to go through your morning in a certain way, for instance, that old habit has a greater sway than the new one you're trying to establish around a meditation practice. Even with being kinder to ourselves, those old habits of criticizing ourselves as a response to making mistakes will be more practiced. You're more accustomed to them, and so it's more automatic. But there's another reason why we don't do what we say we should. And pay attention to this. Deep down, we don't believe that any of it will actually work. Boom. We don't do what we say we should because deep down, we don't believe that any of it will actually work. Let me make a slightly different comparison to illustrate what I'm talking about here. If you found out that you were a multi-million-dollar lottery winner in a different state, but in order to claim your prize, you would need to show up in that state within the next 24 hours. You'd do whatever it took to get there, right? Like, let's say you lived in California and the prize was waiting for you in, say, Missouri, but there were no flights to Missouri, so you were going to have to drive. And I looked it up on Google Maps. It's about a 24-hour drive. And that's about how long you have to actually get there before the multi-million-dollar lottery prize expires. If you knew that there was a guaranteed couple mil waiting for you, would you just shrug your shoulders and say, gosh, guess I won't get my millions, bummer? Or would you figure out how to get your ass to Missouri? Even if it meant enlisting friends to drive with you in shifts all through the night and peeing in a cup in the back seat to not have to stop. Something, right? I think you know the answer to that question. If the multi-million-dollar lottery prize was waiting for you, you just had to get there, you'd do whatever it took to get there. So I'm going to change the terms ever so slightly then before I turn it back to why we don't do what we say we should. What if it was no longer a guaranteed multi-million-dollar prize, but rather If you took the time to hustle to another state to claim your millions, there was a 50-50 chance that you'd get it. As in, you might show up there within the 24 hours, and there was a 50-50 chance that they'd say, great, you get it. Or they might say, I'm so glad that you took the time to get here. We went ahead with the next step in the prize and we flipped a coin and you did not get the prize, but thank you for trying. Now, I'm asking this because how you would answer this 50-50 chance question says something fundamentally about your willingness to take action in the name of possibility. For me, I'm very clear that even with only a 50-50 chance that I'd drive all night and go to a lot of effort to claim a prize, and that prize might happen, but it might not happen, I'd still rather try than not try. I'd still rather bet on the possibility that if I drove all night, I'd get the millions. I'd still rather bet on the possibility of things working out the way that I wanted them to than not bother. So let's go back to why we don't do what we say we should, the meditation and the vegetables and the being kinder to yourself. If you really believed, truly, really believed in the benefits that meditation could give to your life, you'd do it every day. There's no way you'd waste a second not giving yourself the gifts that meditation can bring. You'd never again tell yourself, I don't have the time. Just as you wouldn't tell yourself, I don't have the time if the multi-million-dollar lottery prize was on the line. You'd do it because you knew that you wanted that outcome. So that's why I'm saying we don't do what we say we should, in part because we don't believe that it's going to work. If you actually believe that meditation is going to work, if you know that it's going to bring you a benefit, you'll do it. Really, if you know. We don't do what we say we should because we don't actually believe it's going to work. And if you sit with this for a bit and really search, why don't you do the things you know you should? What's that really about? You're going to arrive there. And first you might sift through things like, well, I don't do that thing because I don't really know how. Or, yeah, I don't follow through because it feels really hard to fit in. But dig a few layers deeper and you're going to arrive at, I don't do it because I don't really see the point. Or perhaps I don't do it because in the moment it feels too hard. But anything that feels hard is not a reason necessarily to not do it. If you knew the multi-million-dollar lottery was waiting for you, yours to claim in only 24 hours, you'd do the things that were hard. You'd see the point. You wouldn't dither about coming up with good reasons. You wouldn't waste time trying to come up with the quote-unquote perfect route to drive on the claim to your millions. You wouldn't get lost in comparisons about so-and-so who might have figured out how to get $1 million prize better than you, and you wouldn't sit around thinking about how your parents or your teachers always criticized you and never believed in you. You'd just fucking go already, right? In other words, there's a lot less to figure out than you think there is. Let me just ask you, do you believe that meditation, daily meditation, will help your life or not? Do you believe that eating vegetables and getting some kind of exercise in your body will help your life or not? Do you believe that being kinder to yourself and others is good for your life or not? And don't hem and haw about it. This is a yes or no question. Do you believe this or don't you? Yes or no? And really, it's what do you believe? Because if truly you don't believe that meditation could benefit your life, then there's no point in even telling yourself that you should try it just because everybody else says it's great. And there's no shame here. Just go do something else that will benefit your life. Do you. You know, this is okay. It's not a crime to decide that meditation isn't your thing, but that something else is that brings the benefits everybody talks about from meditation. The point is this: if you believe that meditation will truly help your life, if you believe that exercise or vegetables or gratitude or drinking more water or being kinder to yourself will truly help your life, then you need to be doing these things. And you need to be doing them consistently and drop the, gosh, gee, I said I would, but then I got so busy. And if you don't really believe that these things would benefit your life, then good, drop the gosh, gee, I should do these things because everybody else says I should. You get to drop that now. You already know whether or not you are in integrity around these things. You already know what you truly believe. You know whether or not you really need to be doing these things and are copping out, or if you actually just don't want to do these things, and it's okay. Let's get honest. You already know the truth of what you believe about the benefits or not of meditation, vegetables, exercise, water, gratitude, being kind to yourself, adopting more courageous habits, consciously deciding not to get stuck in your fear, anything else that you've ever heard can help you to live a good life. All you really got to do is ask yourself, do I believe that this would help my life? Or don't I? Yes or no question. There's nothing else to figure out. You either believe that something could be helpful and thus you need to be doing it so that you can live an incredible life, or you don't believe that it could be helpful and it's time to find out what you do believe is helpful, what you do believe is necessary for you to live an incredible life. I'm saying, let's drop the middle part where we waste time on, I'm not sure how, or I don't have time, but someone from my past always told me I would be no good at that. Right here, right now, you are able to do what you are able to do as well as you can do it. All that matters is if you at least try, at least aim for the 50-50 chance that these practices or any others of your choosing can help you feel stronger and more emotionally resilient, then you're following the path that's right for you. You'll be doing what you say you should. You'll be doing what you say you want to be doing. So don't do it because other people say it's a good thing to do. Don't do it because I do. I'm a meditation evangelist over here. But don't not do it because you're dithering around with, well, I don't know, golly gee. Just get really real. Do what you say you will. Do what you say, this should be something I want to do in my life. And do it consistently. Because really, you and none of us, we just don't have any time to waste. We are here for this very short life experience. And you deserve to live it feeling good about who you are and how you're living your life. You deserve to live it consciously and intentionally practicing the things that lift you up, make you feel good, make you have more capacity to give to yourself, to others, to the world. That's what you got to be doing. That's the game. And whatever practices nourish that, it's time to start doing what you said you were going to do. Don't delay. All right, that's today's podcast. Thank you so much for listening to today's episode. You know you can continue the work and the fun if you want to. Head on over to yourcourageouslife.com/begin and become a Your Courageous Life subscriber, because as soon as you sign up, you get access to an entire library of worksheets and audios and other bonuses. And of course, you'll be receiving more courage in your inbox. And who wouldn't love that? You can learn more about the Courageous Living Coach certification at teamclcc.com. You can get the Courage Habit at your local bookseller, on Amazon, wherever you like. We can even connect on social media. I'm on Facebook at Your Courageous Life. So look for facebook.com/Your Courageous Life. And I'm on Instagram as Kate Courageous. And I'd love to connect with you on Instagram. So here's to you, using these courageous tools in your life and creating a real ripple effect of good. And again, thanks so much for listening. I love it that you're here.